Now, the only time in history, other than now, that I have heard of children being deliberately experimented upon was Dr. Joseph Mengele at Auschwitz. That is the only time in history I have read where children were deliberately collected, deliberately experimented on, and deliberately killed. Until today. This is the only time in history, and we are about, depending on where you started counting and your religious beliefs, we are probably the 40,000th generation. We are the 40,000th generation of human being. And this is the first time I have known a worldwide study on children for autism, miscarriages, cancer, bone cancer, leukemia, all of the things that they're getting. This is the first time in the history of the human race that children are being deliberately experimented on without the parents' consent, where the parents have been lied to, without the children's consent. This is the first time. And it's written, the World Health Organization said they started studying children in 2009, and they will not have a result. They're going to have a result in the first sort of summary in 2012, but it will be at least another 10 years after that before they reach a conclusion. So it is an experiment by the World Health Organization on children, and this is the first time in the history of the human race that we are exposing children to this. And what does it say about the human race when we're doing that?
Yeah, it has become dehuman. I normally twist WHO around because I say it's the World Health Organization, but whose health are they organizing? It seems like awkward, everything what's going on.
They are really business funded. I think they are business funded and they look after business. They certainly don't look after the humans.
In 2008, there was a study done. Actually, there was a Dane inside it, and that was quite interesting because he didn't expect that these results would come out, but he did it together with someone in America, and it was about mobile phones harming unborn babies when a woman is pregnant.
Yep.
And it was 100,000 pregnant women and 13,000 7-year-old children. And it showed that these children had behavioral problems.
Oh yeah,
they
absolutely.
couldn't bond so much with their mother, and
and in fact, I'm trying to think, I read a paper very recently, and I've got the gentleman's name written down, but basically what he can do, he can measure the radiation that the child is exposed to, and he knows how ill the child is going to be when they're born. He's actually listed how much radiation, how sick the child is going to be. He's got it now on a table. You know, like if you eat this much, you're going to weigh this much. He's got it like that. So, you know, it is, I think, what is happening when, as a human race, we are experimenting on the unborn. You know, it's, in my I have a very, very simple mind, very simple.
yeah, but the truth is simple.
Yeah, and I think there are a whole row of children in heaven waiting to be born. Is how I see this. You have all these children playing around in heaven, waiting to be born, looking down, and they're probably saying, I hope I don't go to one of those families that is being experimented on, so I'm born with autism or a genetic disorder. I just want to be born ordinary so I can play and have fun and grow up. And in my simple, very simple mind, I see them looking down worried. That's how I see it.
Can I add a little to that?
Yes.
When you have the children up there and looking down, seeing
Yeah.
which family would I like to
Yeah.
get the lesson I need to have,
Yeah.
I see it as we have this electromagnetic spectrum that has been totally polluted around
Yeah.
everything you can say, and they have to go down through that.
Yeah.
And some of the programs are becoming rewritten on the way down because they become so damaged, you can say, the soul or the essence of the child.
Yep.
Just, metaphor speaking.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I can add a little story to that.
Of course, everything.
And you can show this to any of your religious friends. I have one question. You can pose this question to any decision maker. And this is a true story. I was in court once. I try and represent people. Usually I lose. Occasionally I win. But most times I lose. I was in court once and there was a break, midday break. And I went across the road to the pub and I got myself a beer and a sandwich, and I just sat down, just whiling away an hour thinking about what I could say next. And the barrister representing the mobile industry came in and sat down, and he said, "You know you've lost, don't you?" And I said, "Well, probably. I lose most things." And I said, "Would you tell me just one thing?" And I often ask this with decision makers around the world. I say, "Would you answer one simple question for me, just for my own curiosity?" I said, "Now, you and I said, are on the downward part of the slide of life." I said, "and it's getting faster and faster." I said, "Now, I know when I was young, I've been stupid. But as an adult, I've been trying to do good. Maybe what some people would describe, like you and I, as God's work, preventing suffering." I said, "Now, when I die, and I stand before the judges, and that is a day none of us can avoid, I will stand before the judges, and I will say, look, here I was stupid, but I tried to succeed here. And I will have ticks in some boxes and crosses in other boxes. But I'm not afraid. With what I have achieved, I'm not afraid." I said, "But you, on the other hand, you take a lot of money, more than my pension over a year. You will earn that in a day." I said, "You have your Rolls Royce, your big house, your yacht." I said, "and you take all of this and you find loopholes to win cases that are going to cause suffering and death." I said, "Now, I have one question. When you reach the end of this slide and you have to stand before the judges, whatever religion, where you are naked and nobody's impressed with your Rolls Royce, nobody's impressed with your big house and your yacht, you can't take your money with you, you can't bribe anybody. You have one sentence when you look at all of the suffering you have caused. What will you say? What is that one sentence you will say to defend yourself? When you cannot lie here, they can see through, and it's telepathic. You cannot lie. What is your one sentence? I've always wanted to know that, and not one decision maker has that sentence prepared.
Please forgive me.
It's too late, isn't it?
Yeah, but
It's too
I will
late.
do better next time. They cannot answer it.
They cannot answer it.
No.
And I think if we could get that message to decision makers, maybe when they go to bed at night and they think, well, hang on, I can't avoid this. I can buy my way out of everything, I can do anything, but I can't avoid this, and this is coming towards me. And I think that will be a strong thought if they know, and it may just help our cause.
And also adding to that, I've been living, we rented a house from a Duke, and then I know other Dukes within this community, they have cancer. And no matter how big castles they have, how many cars, Range Rovers and whatever, they still got cancer. And they cannot get rid of it. And so perhaps some of these need to adjust their minds and see this world is not about having all these things, this is about serving, it's about sharing.
Yeah. And I think, well, I think about Adolf Hitler, what he would say, and I think about these decision makers that are deliberately, and I think causing more damage. They will be in the same boat, and I don't think they realise that.
There's nothing more to say about that.
No.
Just,